and thank you for joining me. For those of you that are new to the channel, my name is Tim. This is Freight Master Resources, where we provide you with tips, tools and resources, okay, to help you grow and be more successful as a freight broker, freight agent, carrier, okay? So I know that this might be a little bit of a heated topic for some carriers who are maybe a little disgruntled with brokers, have a very poor opinion of brokers. But the last two videos that I did were on how to be more profitable as a freight broker, and then the one I did yesterday was on how to be more profitable as a carrier, right? A trucking company. Before that, we talked about the market, and kind of where that direction was heading according to the data that we're seeing. But today's video and the one I want to do after this is the difficulties on being a freight broker. And then my follow-up video will be on the difficulties of being a carrier. Okay. I feel that that's kind of important, especially with kind of where where that data is telling us the market is going to start trending. And so I'm noticing more and more brokerages, advertising for hiring agents and things like this. And for a lot of the new people coming in, I think that, and even for some of you that have been in the industry for maybe a couple of years, that don't know some of these things or wish you had known some of these things. It's not all sunshine and rainbows, right? We don't just kind of sit back and go do on our keyboard and sip our lattes or whatever it is you drink, but that's just not the case. And I think that if the better we understand each other as freight brokers and carriers, and building that synergy, the better off we're going to be as a whole, as an industry. So that's why I want to do these videos, again, especially for maybe new people wanting to jump in or those that don't understand the other side of the table. Because like I said, I think it's important for freight brokers to understand, what drivers and carriers deal with, as well as what, freight brokers deal with or freight agents. When you're a carrier or a truck driver looking at, what brokers do. Now, I'm not going to sit back and act like, every freight broker is, just out there doing their best. There's some bad actors out there, right? There's bad actors on all sides of the table. I've dealt with bad shippers, right? Ever-changing requirements after the load has been booked. Canceling loads, literally driver 10 miles away, 10 minutes away, and then, oh no, this happened. And, you get those emails and it'll be suspicious and you're like, I don't know about that. So, you do a quick load search and sure enough, there's your load posted on the board because maybe some other broker goes, oh, well, I can get that done for you cheaper. Oh, well, yeah, and they committed to the load. And then you get that 4:30 o'clock call or email going, Tim, hey, something happened. The load's back on. Can you still get a truck in here today? No, Scooter, we can't, or we can, but it's going to cost extra now. It's the end of the day, so it's better to just not play games, be upfront and honest, transparent about things. And again, I think that is where we really, truly find success, by really, like I said, understanding each other and growing, networking, building relationships and things. And we can't do that without understanding, what each side goes through. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up my notes here real quick and kind of cover some key points here for you. All right. Again, while freight brokering can be a rewarding career, there are definitely challenges. Okay. And like I said, we're going to break down on why being a freight broker can be difficult. Okay. Number one is balancing needs. Okay. You have to satisfy two demanding clients. All right. That being your customer or the shipper and your carrier. Okay. Shippers who want the lowest rates and the best service. I know it seems like when you put those two words together, it's not to cut off here real quick, a little sidebar, but good service doesn't come cheap. Okay. It just doesn't. If there's some shippers that put price over service, but I think that as a result of a lot of the fraud that we've seen in the industry, I think that as the market starts to trend back upwards, I think that we're going to start to see less and less of that. And it's going to be more about service. At least that's my humble opinion. Agree with me, disagree with me. Let me know your comments in the down below, because I'd like to get your opinion on that. Right? Do you agree with me that service is going to be the main factor going forward? As we move into 2025. Again, my humble opinion. You may or may not agree with me. Okay, so to kind of reiterate, shippers who want the lowest rates and best service, and carriers who want the highest pay for their trucks, right? So it's a constant negotiation and building trust with both parties, right? And that can be a difficult one when you've got one pushing down and another one trying to push up, and you're kind of caught in the middle, and there's that friction there, right? And this is why having relationships, is so important. And like I said, I know some brokers and some agents that, depending upon what the market's doing, oh, that load was paying $1,700 and I got it covered for $1,000. I just made $700 on that load. Well, all right, good for you. You got rich for a minute, right? On that load, you made a pretty good profit margin, but at the same time, you're not doing yourself any favors by, you know what I mean? That might have been a very good carrier that you could have built a very strong relationship with had you been a little bit more flexible, right? Like I said, there's some bad actors out there, there's good actors, and so this is all just about us understanding each other. Number two is market fluctuations. Okay, the freight market is dynamic, right? That's the first thing. One of the first things you need to understand. Finding trucks or capacity can be tough, especially on short notice, like I mentioned earlier. Sometimes you get that 4 o'clock, 4:30. I've gotten calls at 8, 9 o'clock at night. Some of those shippers that load really late, or they load 24 hours. Something happens. They know I have no life. I'm here. It seems like I spend most of my time in the office, but my buddy Kenny is taking me fishing this weekend. He's going to come see me. We're going to go do some trout fishing. So I'm getting out of the office hopefully Saturday, and it should be fun. But I digress. On the flip side, if rates drop, convincing carriers to take a load can be challenging, right? We've seen that. Although I think that with the market being down like it has the last 2 years, the capacity still being up, it hasn't been quite as difficult to get carriers to move cheap, but shippers also know that, right? I've got some customers that had been really great over the years, allowed me to pay my drivers a fair rate, right? Left a little meat on the bone there for myself, and everybody was happy, which is kind of the way, in my opinion, it should be. But I don't know. In the last, 2 years, I've seen more and more of them kind of, we need to get this rate down. We need to get this rate down. We need to get this rate down. And it gets more and more challenging. Okay. Especially with some of those carriers that maybe you had a really great relationship with, and they're like, what's going on? Oh, the market's down, so now you want to gouge me. No, that's not the case. And that's why I'm very transparent with my carriers about what my margins are, right? So moving on. Number 3, building relationships, right? This is something that I stress so much, and I know I sound like I'm up here on a pulpit and I'm trying to drive that into everybody's head, but success really relies heavily on your network of shippers and carriers, right? Talking about that long-term success versus short-term. You need to invest time and effort into building strong relationships that will bring you steady business, right? It's not a sprint, right, to the finish line. Anyway. Regulations, number 4. The industry is heavily regulated, right? It seems like every time we turn on our computer, turn our heads, there's some new mandate, some new this, some new that, whether it's on a state or a federal level, right? Staying on top of FMCSA rules and other regulations is crucial to avoid problems, right? This goes kind of hand in hand with our communication, right? Maybe what we were able to do and what worked in the past, shippers might not realize, right? Your customer might not realize that this new regulation or mandate won't allow us to do this anymore, right? Or we have to go about it a different way. And by keeping them informed, there again goes to helping you build your relationships and bring in more business, right? While some brokers and agents, they rather just be keyboard jockeys, or load board jockeys and just, whatever. And they punch out at 5 o'clock or 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock and hit the golf course or whatever. They're not doing themselves any favor. They're just not. I'm not saying you have to be like me and just more or less be on call and be in the office almost 24/7, but you have to be flexible. You have to be informative. You can't just take everything kind of as is and just float along with everything, I guess. All right. Number 5 is pressure and deadlines, right? This job can be fast paced and stressful. I can't tell you the number of times I seem like a very nice person, or at least I hope I do. But there's times I hang up the phone and I'm just, kind of pounding my desk a little bit, or I'm just like, oh, kind of a thing. Because, like I said, sometimes you got shippers that change requirements after the fact, that the load was booked, and then now that carrier might not be the right fit for that load, right? And they'll do that, trying to sneak in, because they know that initially it was going to cost them more in the beginning. So by them trying to sneak that in there after the fact to try to keep that rate down, it happens. It happens. It's not always brokers. It's sometimes is the customer themselves, right? In fact, I think I've talked about that in some of my previous videos over the course of this channel being operational. All right. Meeting deadlines and trying to keep everybody happy can be demanding, and it is, especially when unexpected issues arise, like I mentioned just a moment ago. So basically, overall, being a freight broker requires strong communication, negotiation, and relationship building skills. You also need to be adaptable and comfortable in a very dynamic environment. Okay. So I hope that especially for those of you that are drivers, fleet owners, that, maybe have a poor opinion of brokers all the time. Every broker is the devil, right? Like we talked about in the previous video. I hope that this kind of brings to light some of the things that, the average broker goes through. It's not all sunshine and rainbows. And for those of you that are maybe looking to get into the industry as a broker, whether you're starting your own brokerage or becoming an agent, it's important to understand, not all the sunshine side of things. I mean, there's plenty of videos out there about, oh, this agent made, $11 a day and blah, 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 and they're up there like Jojo the circus monkey, and they're, how great is the freight market? Well, yeah, it can be very rewarding, but it comes with its difficulties too, right? Like any career does. It's not really any different than any other job or any other career. With the good, there's going to be bad, right? So, and there's probably a lot more that I could, I probably could have added to this, as far as, going over the difficulties with sales and things like that. But these are kind of like the 5 major key points, right? So I wanted to kind of sort of at least keep this somewhat short and sweet, right? So I'm not hogging up your whole day. But again, next video we're gonna discuss some of the difficulties that trucking companies go through. Okay, and if you are a driver or trucking company owner, and you would like to join me on the next show, email me, let me know, or drop a comment down below in the, let me see, there it is, freightmasterresources@gmail.com. I'd like to get some more insight, while we're an asset-based company, I'm not out there on the road. I'm not the one driving, right? I have a lot of friends that are owner operators, fleet owners, and a lot of those carriers that I do work with, on a regular basis, when there's a moment, we try to discuss and talk about, different things, different challenges, and, things like that. But again, if you'd like to join me on the next show, by all means, hit me up. I can send you an invite, and, maybe hopefully help me elaborate a little bit on some of that. And, we can do a live, we can do a pre-recorded, whatever you feel more comfortable with. Again, we've talked recently about the importance of having the right tools and resources available to, as a carrier or as a broker, especially with the way technology has been evolving in our industry as of late. It's important to have those tools, especially when you're out there prospecting for new customers. Excuse me, losing my voice here for some reason. When you're out there prospecting and trying to build those relationships, it's very, very important to have those tools and resources available to you, right? And that's why we provide those for you down below. So whether you're needing, like the DAT load board, factoring, right? If you're looking for an outstanding factoring company, obviously I recommend Operfi. If you are looking for shipper leads, vetting carriers, and this goes for carriers as well as brokers. If you're looking for new shippers, we've got eCarrierCheck down below, right? And if you click that link, there's actually a discount code off for your first 3 months. Okay. And they have their own YouTube channel as well. So don't forget to check them out. They got a lot of great insight, a lot of great information that I think that is very helpful. Just like Danny, his channel, Haul and Cash, check him out. He's from over there at Operfi, and tons of great information over there. I mean, it's gold, I tell you. So yeah, don't forget to check out those tools and resources down below. I guarantee you won't be dissatisfied. Really, really great tools and services there for you to help you grow, especially with, like I said, where we believe that the market will start trending, as we kind of float into 2025. So it's important to kind of maybe stay ahead of that curve. And if you're out there, working on new business, you're doing your cold calling for new customers, it's important to have like those vetting tools and those resources available, right? To reassure your prospect and your customers that you're not just using the basics of RMIS and SAFER, right? That's like the antiquated way of doing things anymore, just as an example. So again, I thank everybody who has liked and subscribed to the channel. You guys are awesome. I'm loving the comments lately. You guys kind of bombarded me the other day with some of the comments, and some of them were on older videos, and I love it. Right? I'm pretty sure I answered everybody back. I'm going to go through and double check this morning to make sure that I didn't miss anybody. But I did try to reply to everybody if it warranted a reply. So with that, I hope everybody's having a great day. Have a great week. And as always, be kind to one another. Bye-bye now.